to A Geek with a Plan. So today, guys, in the A Geek with a Plan, we're going to be talking about Arrow Season 7. Why it just flopped for me. Literally, I losing interest around that, January time mark. Here's why, okay? You're gonna understand why I was literally committed to watching Arrow this season, but I had to literally catch up just before this video because I didn't watch the rest of the season around that January mark because it just kind of flopped. But when I did, it flopped even more, in my opinion. So here's why I think Arrow Season 7 flopped for me. So yeah. So first, let's talk about the characters. I love all the characters. They're amazing characters. I love storylines, stuff, but let's first talk about Renee. Renee is a good character. I'm not saying he's the best. I'm not saying he's the worst. He's a good character because he has a real relationship with the villain this season, which, by the way, there's some spoilers, so yeah. But Emiko, he knew Emiko, and he knew what was going to happen to Emiko, and he knew everything about Emiko. So I just thought that was really, he was the first one to actually talk to Emiko, which I loved about that. But one thing I didn't like about it was because his feelings were getting in the way of the battle, which I'm like, really? Really? That just kind of upset me because, when you're a real, when there is a real villain, I'm pretty sure if you knew a person if you're a cop and you knew a person that did a crime, you would not say, oh, you can go. No, you would actually just arrest them, you would do. Because, and that just didn't really make sense in the world. I think this is kind of bringing me back to the Christmas truce. So the Christmas truce, you have not learned this in history class. I'm sorry about the voices, but anyway, the Christmas truce is about, I think, the Allied soldiers and the German soldiers. I completely forget what to say. But basically, they had a truce for that Christmas day, I think, and they were singing the same songs, but in different languages. So they shared chocolate, they shared pictures of their family, and then that kind of, when the generals came back, they was like, okay, here's what's gonna happen. We're going to move you guys, so that way they're not shooting at each other, that they saw their pictures of wife and kids. They're just doing this because they were told to, basically. So I don't know, that kind of thing. Literally, what Oliver could have done was bench Renee. That's my opinion. That's my opinion. That's what he should have done. Kind of bench Renee or move him somewhere else in that area of combat. That's my opinion. Okay. Now let's talk about Felicity. People kind of hate Felicity. There's some people who love her, some people who hate her. I'm in the middle. I don't hate her, but I don't love her. She does bring comedy to a dark and gritty show, but she brings a little bit too much, that's my opinion. And she makes things awkward sometimes. And she's really nerdy, which I think is kind of relatable. You're really, she's really nerdy. And you're so most of these people who are watching these shows are either geeks or nerds. Geeks and nerds. Or maybe just random people that they just want to watch I don't know, Emily Beth Richards play this character. Like, Felicity's a really great character, but she needs to tone it down a little bit. That was my opinion. Otherwise, she did great. She hit everything correctly. It was amazing. So, I want to talk about another character, Curtis. He didn't really show up in that show that much, and we did get an explanation, but this is a problem. I really wanted him to show up a lot more so that it wasn't just Felicity in the bunker, like trying to solve all these crimes, trying to hack everything. I think Curtis, or maybe even Cisco from Flash, would be a great member of the team, but of course Curtis had to go. I was kind of mad about that. I was kind of mad. And the first part of the season, or the last part of season 6, they literally, this is what happened that really made me mad, was that he was working at Argus. I think that's how you say it. Argus. Instead of working with Felicity, because, or maybe Felicity could have come to Argus. Whatever. My opinion is my opinion. Okay. Let's talk about Zoe, one of my favorite characters in the series. I know we don't see her that often, but what really made me mad about this was that we didn't really show her that much, which kind of made me mad. So yeah, and then the rest of the characters are really good. Okay, we're going to talk about the storyline. The storyline is really made me mad because there was just all these different storylines. It didn't, it went from this guy who's stranded on an island for 5 years going to the city that he knew, and then next thing you know, guess what happens? And season 7, he gets promoted to deputy. I'm like, he gets deputized. I'm like, you're a vigilante. And this show just flopped for me. It's like, he went in prison, he then got deputized, and then he stopped the bad guy. Those, one of the 3 I like, which is he stopped the bad guy, bad girl, whatever. But it was his own sister. I hated the villain this season. I didn't like it because it was his half-sister. What? Of course, that made things a little more interesting, but for me personally, I'd not like it because it's just and same with Flash. Flash does this all the time, where they do something personal, like somebody personal. Okay, these 2 seasons, it hasn't been that personal, but it's like, first it was the mentor, next it was, a friend, not really a friend, and then third was himself. Come on, do you not see the problem with that? But anyway, I'm going to talk about Flash later, but I didn't really like the villain. And being, it doesn't really give you the suspense or the, really, nerves, if they're gonna get caught, cliffhangers, because you could have done everything with that, if they were actually vigilantes, and, they didn't get deputized, and Oliver escaped from prison, that would be good, that would be amazing, and then they said at the end of the season, I'm totally fine, Arrow's already ending anyway, totally fine with that. Or maybe in the crossover, Oliver probably dies. We don't know. Is that bad that the only really thing that I think will I don't really know. But the only thing that will really make a great ending to Arrow is if Oliver dies. That sounds so bad, but I mean, if you think about it, otherwise you wouldn't be waiting for the suspense. You wouldn't be I really want to see more of what happens in the future. No, because you get none of that. To me, that just kind of gets me mad. If the show ends and the main character or characters don't die, that just makes me really mad because I like seeing what happens to them in the future. I really want to know what happens to them in the future. But I can't see anymore because Arrow. But yeah, so that's why Arrow flopped for me.